What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I'm your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 130. Yes, 130. Hopefully, everybody had a beautiful week. This is the first back live stream since Tuesday. Yes, since Tuesday. But hopefully everybody had a beautiful week. It is Friday, February 13th, 2026, year of our Lord. And yeah, it's almost Valentine's Day for everybody tomorrow. So hopefully you got everything you needed. But, you know, it's another day. It's Friday, the end of the week. But a lot of crazy things have been happening. So that is why we still got to do this. We got to do this. You know, we meet Monday through Friday, starting around 6 o'clock, where we just talk about 4 topics that came up into my recommendeds that we need to review together. Why? Because the world is a crazy place. And the only way we can move forward is we look at all these crazy situations and see how we need to move. But remember, if you ever disagree with anything I said, please leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to say I know everything. I'm not going to say I'm always right. I might have missed something in the video, so please be sure to mention it. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. How Future say, let's have a sensational show today. The first topic we got to go over to is we got to go to a murder case where the suspect has pleaded guilty. Let's get into it. So we're going to go over into the Naziyah Harris murder trial. Well, murder case where the suspect has pleaded guilty. But some of the parents are saying that's not enough. But let's get over into it. We got 2 videos to look at, and then of course we'll go into the AI breakdown just to see anything else that we miss. Let's jump over into it.
We begin with breaking news in the case of murdered Detroit teen Naziyah Harris. Her accused killer, Jarvis Butts, has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and criminal sexual conduct in 5 other cases. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ruparaj. Butts' guilty plea comes just days before his trial was set to start. Let's get live to Fox News' Ingrid Kelly. She's in Detroit with more on his sentencing agreement. Ingrid.
Well, good evening, Roop. You know, Butts actually entered that plea at 3rd Circuit Court. But, you know, the question still remains, where is Naziyah's body?
This is the culmination of perhaps a proper decision on his part.
Jarvis Butts, the man charged in connection to the death and sexual assault of 13-year-old Naziyah Harris, pleaded guilty to murder and a number of sexual assault counts during a pretrial hearing. Here's legal expert attorney Todd Perkins, who is not affiliated with this case.
Wayne County Prosecutor's Office is the Office of Community Prosecution. They wrap their arms around families before they would make an offer in this type of case, and I'm sure they did that in this case.
It's alleged Butts developed a relationship with the teen. Last year, Butts was bound over for trial in connection to Naziyah's disappearance. She was last seen getting off a school bus on January 9th, 2024 in Detroit.
It brings closure to the family, and I believe the family got something out of this in the sense that they had this great traumatic loss, but they have someone who makes a statement and also gives information to the prosecutor's office and law enforcement to bring that closure about.
Yeah. Back out here live, you know, Attorney Perkins, he actually spoke to us earlier today at Fox 2 Detroit Live. Now, back to Butts. He is set to be sentenced next month, and it's expected that he will spend decades in prison. Roop, back to you.
Yeah, Ingrid.
Decades. Good. 13 years old? Sexually? Some sick people in this world.
But you know, you talk a little bit about if this was to move forward with all of the court proceedings, how painful this testimony has been already for family members and how gruesome some of the details are and have been. It is at least a little solace that they don't have to be drugged through something like that.
It really is, but you know what, I will say, you know, this became like a case for all of society. I mean, everyone felt this family's pain, and I think many people are still asking, where is this child's body? Now, I did reach out to the prosecutor's office to find out, as a part of this, you know, plea, if, you know, Butts will have to say where the body is, so we're still waiting on a response. But I think that is the question everyone really wants to know. That will bring some justice, because at least that way they can actually lay this child to rest properly. Back to you.
Now, I hope the prosecution didn't do something as stupid as agreeing to a plea deal without an assurance that he would lead them to the body. But let's go over into this next video, where it seems like the family saying it's not enough. Let's get into it.
First at 11, a legal battle many feared would never end is closing with a guilty plea in the murder of 13-year-old Naziyah Harris. From the day she went missing to this moment of accountability, we have stayed with this story to see a form of justice through. Good evening, I'm Mike Duffy. Jarvis Butts admitted to killing the young girl while also pleading guilty to the sexual assault of 5 other victims. For Naziyah's family, it's the end of an agonizing nightmare that began when she vanished in Detroit 2 years ago. But they're still searching for a deeper sense of peace. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham has been covering this story from the beginning. Tonight, he spoke with Naziyah's relatives about this sudden turn in the case.
Even with a confession in hand from Jarvis Butts, Naziyah Harris's family tells me they are not done fighting. They are now calling for a deeper investigation into those who they believe paved the way for this tragedy.
Knowing something, feeling something, and then having something confirmed, it's a different type of pain.
At a minimum, Jarvis Butts must serve 35 years in prison after pleading guilty to the murder of 13-year-old Naziyah Harris. Investigators believe he killed her to cover his tracks after impregnating her. As part of a plea deal, Butts also pleaded guilty to 5 other cases of rape and molestation.
He will serve that 60 years if we have anything to do with it. He would die in prison.
Naziyah's aunt says she wanted to see a life sentence, but believes getting him off the streets is a win for his other young victims currently grappling with trauma. However, the family's focus is now shifting toward accountability for those who failed to protect the 13-year-old.
Jarvis was not the only person at fault. She would have never been able to be in his hands if she had never been neglected or endangered. Those signs were there, the warnings were there, the complaints were there. CPS has the complaints, Detroit Police Department has the complaints.
CPS has acknowledged that prior complaints were submitted. Detroit police also admitted to 7 News Detroit that the department failed to investigate a 2022 claim that Butts had touched Naziyah inappropriately.
The people who were responsible for Naziyah lied. They need to be held responsible just as much as Jarvis is for being held responsible.
100%.
We have other children who may possibly go back into the hands of these people.
While Butts has confessed, Naziyah's body has still not been recovered. We spoke with legal expert Todd Perkins about the details of the plea deal.
It's my understanding is that in order to be able to take advantage of this plea, that information had to already have been provided.
Perkins offered a word of encouragement to the family as they continue to push for systemic changes.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Don't stop. I think about those mothers who have lost kids and have, no one's done anything about it, but they just don't, and they don't stop, and they don't stop. And something breaks.
Thank you so much. We don't plan on stopping. We're going to keep on moving forward.
But sentencing is scheduled to take place March 12th. Reporting outside the Wayne County Criminal Justice Center, Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
This is a crazy story. So he has 5 other victims? We got to do it. We're going to have to, of course, go to the AI breakdown, but he's got 5 other victims. And they're saying that most likely he killed her because he wanted to hide him getting a 13-year-old pregnant. I've said this plenty of times. There are monsters in this world. And he definitely needs to stay in jail for life. But he's got 35 years. Hopefully other victims come forward and he can spend the rest of his life in jail. This is crazy. Let's go over to the AI breakdown just so we can see if we can learn anything else from this horrible situation. So as we know, on February 12th, Butts, 43, pleads guilty to second-degree murder and multiple counts of criminal sexual conduct in the death of 13-year-old Naziyah Harris. So Butts agreed to a prison sentence of 35 to 60 years. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, 4 counts of second-degree criminal sexual assault, and 1 count of third-degree criminal sexual assault. involving 5 other girls, ages 4 to they should have, that plea deal's too late. Plea deal's too late. 4 to 13? In exchange for the plea deal, original charges included first-degree premeditated murder and child sexual abuse activity were dismissed. So, Naziyah was last seen getting off the school bus in Detroit on January 9th, 2024. Prosecutors believe Butts, who was dating the teen's aunt, killed her after discovering that she was pregnant with his child. So he was dating the aunt at the time, and that's how he got access. Search history shows Butts looked up ways to induce an abortion, including using antifreeze. Her clothing was later found in the Rogue River near 7 Mile Road in Berg, where cell phone data had placed Butts shortly after her disappearance. And then he is scheduled to be sentenced March 12, 2026. This is a sick freak. Come on now. What? They give him 35 to 60 years, and he assaulted girls ages 4 to 13. 4 to 13. He needs to spend the rest of his life in jail. Simple as that. He needs to. But will he? Most likely not. This is a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Is that 35 to 60 years enough for him? He's 40, how old is he? 43, so at 35 years, he'll be 70, 78. He needs to die in prison. We got to be honest. We just got to say how it is. He needs to die in prison. This is crazy, y'all. But let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. We're going to pivot over into the next topic we're going to go over to. And it's a wild one, y'all. It's a wild one. And it makes me sometimes lose faith in the younger generation, especially the YN generation. But we got a teen who murdered his friend over some French fries. Yeah. A teen who has murdered his friend over some French fries. Yes, we got a video to look at, and then we're going to go over to an AI breakdown. But the world is run by demons. The world is run by demons. Let's get over into it, this news report, and then see what we can think of this whole crazy situation.
An 18-year-old accused of killing a friend after a disagreement over food is now in custody 2 weeks after the shooting.
LaMarcus Darden Jr. is accused of shooting Jarvis Davis at a Fort Worth apartment after Davis would not share his French fries. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke to the victim's mom today. Peyton.
So it's not even he took his French fries. He shot him because he wouldn't share his French fries.
Steve, and multiple people witnessed this shooting inside of an apartment, including children. So Fort Worth police tell me they were confident in who they were looking for. We now know this 18-year-old suspect was tracked down all the way to Tyler, Texas. That's about 140 miles away from Fort Worth. He was tracked down to a hotel. Fort Worth police tell me it's possible he has family in that area, but he's now back in North Texas. That suspect is at the Tarrant County Jail tonight.
It's so senseless.
Senseless. That's how Sharika Kennedy describes the murder of her son.
Why? Now that's the question. Why? No, my baby was probably genuinely his friend. My baby wasn't expecting him to shoot him. Everybody in the house was like, they thought he was joking about the fries.
19-year-old Jarvis Davis shot and killed inside this West Fort Worth apartment near Camp Bowie in 820 back on January 28th. Witnesses told police a group just got back from grabbing food at Wingstop when there was an argument. Investigators say Davis didn't share his fries with the suspect, later identified as 18-year-old LaMarcus Darden.
My son's girlfriend was laying on his lap at the time of it, and she said she just heard a glass break. A gunshot and a glass break.
Fort Worth police say Darden pulled out a handgun, shot Davis in the head, and took off from the complex. He was tracked down nearly 2 weeks later. Kennedy, a mother of 8, now with a missing piece in her family and frustrated considering she says her son and Darden were friends.
how it happened is just, I'm never going to be okay with that. I'm never going to be okay with that.
And Dolton transferred to the Tarrant County Jail yesterday. He is charged with murder. This evening, we reached out to his attorney. They got back to us. The attorney tells us he's not ready to make a public statement at this time.
Hey, good morning, you guys.
The world is a crazy place. You have to choose your friends very carefully. Very carefully. He was hanging out with somebody who was extremely volatile, extremely in that awful mindset, who would think of killing someone because he didn't share his French fries with them. You have to explain this to your children. She has 8 children. She needed to explain this. You cannot be friends with everyone. You have to understand when the friendship is not good or a healthy kind of relationship. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just so we can see if they tell us anything else. So, in the case described as senseless, LaMarcus, 18, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for fatally shooting his 19-year-old friend and neighbor, Jarvis Davis. I don't know if I said his first name right. The shooting occurred in January 28th, 2026, inside of an apartment complex on Germain Drive in West Fort Worth, Texas. A group had recently returned from the apartment after getting food at Wingstop. The argument began when the suspect, who had already finished his own wings, asked Davis to share his French fries. When Davis refused, the verbal dispute escalated. Davis was sitting on the couch with his girlfriend, head on his lap, when the suspect allegedly pulled out a handgun and shot him in the head. Davis was transported to a local hospital, but died from his injuries the following day. So he fled the scene and remained at large for nearly 2 weeks. He was eventually located and arrested on February 9th, 2026 in Tyler, Texas, where he reportedly had family. So he ran. The incident was witnessed by several people, including children and Davis's girlfriend. Children. Davis is currently held at the jail facing first-degree murder charges. Davis's mother has spoken publicly via Fox, expressing her devastation over the tragedy, saying that her son lost her life over something as trivial as French fries that were his. Remember, y'all, that were his. His friend, his supposed friend, already finished all his food. Asked his friend, yeah, can I get some of your fries? Obviously, he said no. I would have said the same thing. I'm a big man. No, you can't. And then he pulls out a gun after the argument and shoots him in the head in front of children and his girlfriend, who was sitting over laying on his lap. There are some people in this world you cannot be friends with. There are some people you need to understand who would do something crazy like this. You can see it by their behavior as while y'all are friends. Just different situations that he puts in that he clearly overreacts to. He clearly can't handle his emotions. Was he never taught to handle his emotions? The real question is, I would like to know who his parents are. Who are his parents? How did they raise him? But then some will say you can't blame this all on the parents. This might be just about his environment. Killed because you wouldn't share your French fries with your alleged friend. That's an awful way to go. Now tell me, y'all, what y'all think of that whole situation. Tell me if you disagree with anything I said. At the end of the day, I've said it plenty of times. Choose the people in your life very carefully. The last thing you want is end up on the news. You have someone like me commenting on it because your friend killed you over some French fries. The world is a crazy place. Let me know if y'all disagree with anything I said. Let me know if I got anything wrong. Wow. Absolutely crazy, y'all. But we're going to pivot over into our third topic we're going to be discussing today. And of course, we got to go to One of our favorite places to talk about, Chicago. You know why? Because Chicago crime is down. Yes, Chicago crime is down, like Mayor Johnson likes to say. But we got some robberies, brazen robberies. So we're going to look at two of them that happened most recently. Caught on camera. Yeah, but like Mayor Johnson says, crime is down. Crime is down. Let's get over into it. Then we'll look at a few crime stats as well with the AI breakdown. But let's get over into it and see what we can make of this whole crazy situation. Let's jump into it.
Hey, good morning, you guys. Yeah, we are here in Fulton Market, just along Lake and Peoria, and I'll step aside so you can see. This is the sidewalk where that man was pinned at gunpoint and beaten before two male suspects stole his items and took off. I will say there is a Chicago police squad car here that just pulled up in the last hour or so, and we don't know necessarily whether this is connected to the investigation of this robbery or whether they're just stopping by. I want you to take a look at this video, though. As you said, it was all caught on camera. This may be a little bit hard to watch just given the graphic nature of things. As you mentioned, this happened during broad daylight yesterday. It happened just before sunset at around 4:30. And according to police, at least one of the suspects pulled out a gun and demanded items from the victim while the other suspect beat him. Once the suspects got the victim's item in their hands, they took off in the Range Rover seen in this video. I did check this morning, guys, and the number of violent crimes reported specifically when it comes to robberies are actually down in Chicago. The city has an online dashboard that shows you something called violence and victimization trends. So here's what I found. In 2020, when crime rates were historically high all across the country, you can see robbery victimizations across Chicagoland were up. Compare this to just last year, those numbers dropped by a lot, especially towards the tail end of 2025. Now, this morning I spoke with the executive director of Fulton Market Association, and he told me about what he thinks needs to be done to keep people safe.
Criminals will commit crimes when there's cameras or when there are not cameras. However, I do believe they know in Fulton Market that there have been a few armed robberies. There have been some, like other neighborhoods, and they're not being caught. And so the first line of defense is to have Chicago police cameras that would record not only the crimes that happen, but the vehicles coming in and out of the community.
Well, meanwhile, we know Chicago police say that they are investigating this robbery, and we also know the suspects, as of this morning, are still on the run.
Absolutely crazy. Let's go over into...
Police are looking for the person who...
Let's go over into this next video. Another robbery, but this one... Let's go over... Are we in the right one? Hold on. Hold on.
Palatine police say they have a person of interest in custody, and detectives are trying to figure out if this guy targeted anyone else in the area. Thankfully, that young girl is safe, but you are about to see just how this robbery went down. Video shows a young lady walking, and that's a stranger just steps behind. He's following way too closely at 7 a.m. Monday morning. The girl tries to avoid the man. Then there's a cry for help. The man grabs her and also takes her cell phone.
It's a little more suspicious than just grabbing a phone.
Young lady.
He's up to something weird.
Palatine police say the guy lurking behind these townhomes off Westwood and right next to the busy Palatine Metro stop is truly concerning.
I would be worried about my wife. I don't think it's good for any area. It's scary.
Troy and Entrepreneur often walk in this area of Palatine. But seeing this video and hearing about the stranger grabbing and robbing the student leave them watching their backs.
To me, it's always, situational awareness. You pay attention to your surroundings.
Police say the young lady was not injured.
I'd be terrified as a parent.
But neighbors say the student and their own sense of security is heightened by what police say is a random attack. We've learned the girl forgot something after missing the school bus, and while heading back home alone, the stranger approached. That scream likely scared off the man who showed no signs of backing off.
I don't know how old the young lady is. She did the right thing by calling out and screaming.
Palatine police say about 4 hours later, they found a man fitting the description of the stranger in the robbery. This image sent to us shows police taking him into custody.
Why blur his face? Why blur the criminal's face? I want to see what this criminal looks like.
Now, police say that man did resist arrest and took off running, but he was eventually captured. Charges are pending tonight, and detectives are just trying to make sure he hasn't targeted anyone else. Live out.
Now, this is a suburb in Chicago. It's all, but crime is down. Crime is down. Let's go over into the stats. Go into the stats and exactly see how crime is down. So let's get over into it. So as they say, Chicago crime recorded a historical decline through 2025 with several key merits reaching the lowest level in decades. So we got homicides. Chicago recorded 416 homicides in 2025, a nearly 30% drop from its 587 in 2024. And then you got shootings incidents fell 35%, and the number of shooting victims dropped by 33%. Overall violent crime citywide decreased 21.6% to 23% according to various 2025 reports. Specifically, robberies fell 31.9% and carjackings 49%. Total property crime dropped by 16%. However, some subcategories like non-residential burglaries and shoplifting saw an increase of 50% to 9%, respectively. So, the arrest rates in total crime rose from 13.8% to 15.8% in 2025, with violent crime arrest rates reaching 17.9%, its highest level since the pandemic. That's a crazy stat, no matter how you think about it. So the percentage that the criminals are arrested, if I'm understanding that stat right, violent crime arrest is at 17.9%. That's awful. But I mean, that might be standard for most places. I don't know. But that just sounds awful to me. So early 2026 data, preliminary data in January indicates a downward trend and is continuing. Homicides, 29. There's 29 recorded in January. That's a 29% decrease from January of 2025. Overall crime, violent crime is down 15%, and property crime is down 16%. And then the factors, they got the mayor effort for Brandon Johnson, federal involvement, national context. Despite these gains, the crime remains concentrated in specific neighborhoods like Austin, which led the city in total crimes for 15 consecutive years. And the residents in many southwest side neighborhoods still report significantly lower safety compared to north side residents. Now, like I said, they're saying crime is down and the stats are supporting that. But some people are saying that they're just padding the stats, like officially not recognizing some crimes. He traveled from over here to Chicago. That we're not counting that as our crimes. He made it over. He left Chicago and then did it over there. That's not counted as us. That is what they're saying, but I'm not sure. The stats are saying everything is down. But tell me, y'all, what did y'all think? What do y'all think? Is the crime rate down in Chicago? Anybody in Chicago, tell me what y'all are seeing. Overall, at the end of the day, like the lady said, you got to have situational awareness. Situational awareness. You need to keep your head on a swivel, like the layman's how you say it. Keep your head on a swivel. Now, will it work all the time? Of course not. But everyone needs to be aware of their surroundings, because people won't care what happens to you. And then you might just walking down the street and then people pop out the Range Rover, and immediately try to rob you for everything you got. Kick you in the head, put a gun to your head, and then jump back in the car and go away. Will most likely not get caught. But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know how you feel about that whole thing. The world is a crazy place, but we have to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world. The world together. Hold on. Sorry, I am back. Wow. There was actually an earthquake. So, that was crazy. But let's finish up this video. Let's go over to the last topic we're going to get over into. Yeah, that was crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Earthquake just happened. So if you heard that, an earthquake just happened. That was crazy. But let's get over into this next video. Nothing happened. I thought something exploded outside the house. Let's calm down. Let's go over into this last topic we're going to be discussing today. And to finish up this video. So we're going to go over to Dolton County, where I don't know if y'all remember Tiffany Henyard, who was fired for overly spending. But let's go over into that videos. We're going to watch because they're suing the banks because they're saying that she should have been stopped. And then we're going to go over and just watch a video just remembering who she was. But let's get over into it and see what we can make of this situation. So let's jump into it.
WGN Investigates has new details on a lawsuit in South Suburban Dolton. It's against the village's bank, claiming the bank should not have paid out money authorized by former Mayor Tiffany Henyard. And this is not a small amount. Henyard has been out of office for 7 months, but the team that replaced her says she left Dolton in deep debt. This lawsuit attempts to recoup some of that money. The village is accusing Fifth Third Bank of failing to follow a 2021 village resolution passed by trustees who were concerned about Henyard's spending. It required all payments to have 2 signatures, Mayor Henyard's and the village clerk. Instead, the lawsuit says Fifth Third paid out more than $1.8 million in taxpayer money with only Henyard's signature. Fifth Third Bank acted in bad faith because it had actual knowledge that Tiffany Henyard was violating her fiduciary duties and stealing and/or misappropriating public funds. That's what the lawsuit claims. The bank declined to comment. That lawsuit does not make specific claims that funds were misused, just that they should not have been paid with only Henyard's signature. Now, keep in mind, this time period covers Henyard's rocky final years in office as she and trustees struggled for control. It was also, as WGN Investigates, exposed how Henyard and her allies spent more than $100,000 on travel. Village money and resources also went to Henyard's questionable cancer charity, self-promotion, meals, and much more. Henyard lost re-election in a landslide last spring. The new mayor says he's been working to dig the village out of debt. Now, to be clear, Henyard is not named as a defendant in this lawsuit, and despite an FBI investigation, she has not been charged with wrongdoing. Her attorney tells me Henyard has, quote, moved on with her life, and the chaos and mismanagement of Dolton at the hands of the Board of Trustees caused damages that will continue to reverberate for years to come, end quote.
Now, okay, so they're basically suing. So just to summarize, they're basically suing because she was supposed to have 2 signatures when she withdrew money, basically. But they let her do it with just her signature on herself. So they're saying that in itself is a crime, and they shouldn't have done that. And because of that, I'm assuming they're trying to get some of that money back. They're suing them for some kind of money back because they are struggling. But let's go back and remember who Tiffany Henyard was. We're going to go back to a video from 9 months ago just explaining when she was going through all this, talking about her mismanaging funds.
Self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard leaves office in the next few weeks after being badly beaten at the ballot box. Questionable spending, clashes with trustees, and an ongoing FBI investigation led to her undoing.
Investigative reporter Ben Bradley broke many of the stories that exposed the issues, and tonight he returns to the south suburbs for a new accounting of Henyard's reign.
I love y'all. There's nothing you can do about it.
The curtain will soon close on the Tiffany Henyard show, but not before one last dance.
Supervisor, come on now. People want to know what's next for you.
Know what's next? Why you out here? Why are you out here?
We were there for Henyard's final food giveaway and a new tally of what she's cost taxpayers. On Easter weekend, cars lined up for blocks. Tens of thousands of tax dollars spent for another one of Henyard's famous food giveaways.
Our last hurrah, and I did not vote for that woman, and I didn't vote for her before, but I'm gonna give me something to eat today.
I like the giveaways, but I don't like her. She's nasty.
She's giving us back what we already gave, but ain't nobody else doing that either.
They're happy to take the food, but they still don't like you.
Tiffany Henyard does spend a lot of money, some of it on worthwhile programs, but she's also benefited handsomely and questionably. Newly obtained records show last year Henyard was paid more than $347,000 from Dolton and Thornton Township, the 2 governments she runs. That's more than Chicago's mayor makes. Henyard's comp includes $282,000 from the township, which also gave her a $4,900 per month expense allowance and an $1,100 monthly vehicle allowance. That's despite the fact Dolton taxpayers spent 6 figures on 2 SUVs police used to chauffeur Henyard.
Trustee Gray Everett, Supervisor Henyard.
And did we mention Henyard hasn't attended a single meeting since she lost re-election?
Why haven't you been to board meetings since your defeat?
And work.
You don't want to answer? You're still getting paid. Why not go to the meetings?
It just proves that what she was doing was very selfish. It wasn't about the people.
Stephanie Wiedemann worked for the township for 20 years and blew the whistle on many of Henyard's antics.
If she had just said, oh, I made a mistake, everybody would have moved on. We pointed out the mistakes and she put on the show. You know, everybody paid attention because every 2 weeks it was like a sitcom.
Y'all are black, and y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
You the ones that's costing the village money.
Okay.
Don't have that call.
All right.
Okay.
What was she supposed to do? You wanted her to expound? Don't drag out the meeting.
I made a motion.
WGN Investigates has documented first-class trips for Henyard and her entourage that cost taxpayers well over $100,000. There was a stay at a Four Seasons and steak dinners. In late 2023, this was how she explained it.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Look at her. No comment.
What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Taxpayers are the ones stuck with the bill. The supervisor and others get unusual perks, including $600 a day for every day they travel out of state for the township, and $400 per day for travel within Illinois, plus the cost of their travel expenses. We asked Henyard's successor whether he agrees with the supersized paydays.
What you make is based upon what you are able to deliver. That's more so saying, like,
people believe that professional athletes shouldn't get paid millions of dollars, that doctors should be, or teachers for that matter. So I'm not going to get here and go into a debate about what should be getting or what should be this salary of this.
With what we've been through and how easily we saw it is to abuse the system, I think it's important that the residents pay attention and continue to pay attention and continue to hold people accountable.
Despite it all, the spending, a questionable cancer charity, an ongoing FBI investigation, and even a brawl at a board meeting, Henyard still has her supporters.
I think she's doing what men have been doing for years as far as her security and all those things. She needs that.
She give back to the community, so, what more can people ask for?
And Tiffany Henyard vows the show will go on.
You told us on Election Day we haven't heard the last year. What's next for you?
It's a lot next for me. Stay tuned.
The FBI is still tuned in. Sources say agents have visited several of Henyard's allies at home in recent weeks, looking for information and cooperation. As for the six-figure township supervisor's salary, it was 6 times higher than the leaders of Illinois' other largest townships, but it will be reduced to just over $50,000 per year when the new supervisor takes over in mid-May. Some of the other allowance perks, they'll remain in place.
Yep, but that was a little bit a reminder of us about who Tiffany Henyard was. And it goes to show you, you have to be aware of what's happening in your local governments. Somebody can be abusing all the money, abusing the money, and then you're wondering why you aren't getting stuff paid for, why services are cut off. And that is why they're suing the banks right now, because they let her do this. They let her spend money without the authorized signatures that required on it. Absolutely crazy situation. But at the end of the day, they voted for her to be in office. But let me know your thoughts on that situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But that is it for the show today, y'all. Thank you for watching. Like always, the world is a crazy place and we got to review this stuff together, y'all. Now, like I always say, if you disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment. Let's talk about it. I said this plenty of times. I'm not going to say I know everything. I don't want to be in an echo chamber. If you feel like I missed the point of something, let's talk about it. But these videos will be broken down so you can see the exact one you want to. But that is it for now, y'all. Y'all already know. I'll see y'all again on Monday. But that's it for now. Peace.